Welcome, everybody, to the mixed final in the Swiss Championships 2018 here in Geneva, Switzerland. We have a great match lined up here between FlyHigh Lausanne in blue and Headless Ultimate Zurich in white. We're going to come over here and see the flip for the game. Limited by cable. All right. Just flip.
Yeah, I thought. Same.
Lausanne is called same. Headless has one.
Okay, I'll take offense. And for the gender, yeah.
Zurich has chosen to take the downwind, and Lausanne will be getting offensive start. And Lausanne will start with the gender decision. So coming up in a few moments, we will have the opening poll here of this match between Lausanne, FlyHigh, and Zurich, Headless. Coming up soon. So my name is Ravi Vasudevan here, doing the commentary for this Swiss mixed final. Again, for those just tuning in, we have Headless Ultimate Zurich in white versus FlyHigh Lausanne in blue. FlyHigh has had a pretty easy road so far here in this championship. The closest game they've had was a crossover game at the last phase, 15-8 against Wizards from Geneva. So far, they've pretty much crushed everybody, but these teams have not met each other yet. Headless, on the other hand, had 2 losses in the first weekend, losing on Universe to both Wizards Geneva and Crazy Dogs. But they managed to get their wins in the bracket play and are now here as the first pull from Zurich goes up to Lausanne, and it is bricked. There is a slight wind going from right to left on your screen, and Headless had opted, they did win the flip, and they opted to take the downwind side to start, giving Lausanne offense. So Lausanne ready to field it from the brick mark. Alain Lehmann with the disc. Starting in a horizontal formation. Over to Guadango. Back to Lehmann. Lehmann and Guadango playing a little give-go. Just playing with each other so far. Now a disc gets up to Galland on the sideline. Galland swings it over to Schaub. Schaub back to Lehmann. Back to Galland. A lot of pressure there on the disc, but Galland able to come down with it. Over to Windler on the sideline. Windler puts up a big one, and I believe there was a foot on the disc, and that one is going to sail out of bounds. A great flip block there from number 13, Malvina Boklova.
No, I have to go.
So Zurich taking it in on the sideline here. Johannes Hellwagner. Great fakes on the line, able to swing it across. It's number 18, Luzman. Luzman swings it now, a big huck up to number 20, Paul Jeun. And Bejun gets a break, and Zurich puts themselves on the board. 1-0 for Headless Ultimate Zurich, and that's a break. Downwind break, but a break nonetheless, and FlyHigh will have to bring their O-line back out after that crushing first point for them. Great foot block there, great pressure. Always a lot of pressure on the cutters there from Headless, and eventually getting the nice foot block for the score. Contrarily, Headless seemed to swing it around pretty easily, get a nice easy huck right into space. No real competition there from the FlyHigh defense. So that's an easy score for Zurich. 1-0 the score here, starting off. This is a spot that Lausanne is not very used to right now, being down. I think they've been pretty much up in most of the games they've played so far at this tournament, both this weekend and 2 weeks ago. So we'll see if they can change things up here. But now they get a downwind O-line opportunity. Lots of the same people out on this line. Pull goes up. And Lehmann again opts to take the disc at the brick mark. Zurich playing a person-to-person defense as FlyHigh comes out in a horizontal stack. Disc gets up, initiated cut by Windler. Windler gets the disc over to the side. That is Camilo Hernandez that had the disc, back to Windler. And Windler with another turnover, second for her this game, as Zurich looked to capitalize immediately on this opportunity. So far, nothing has materialized. Dump is over to Weber. Weber gets it over to Hinzen. Hinzen to Tutian. Tutian back to Weber for the around dump. Tutian now with the disc on the sideline. Looking for that upline cut. There it is, but there is a protected. Great marking by Lehmann. But Zahner's able to get, Heinzen's able to get the disc. Back to Heinzen again. Lots of pressure here from the FlyHigh defense. They are not making it easy, but Tutian has the disc. A nice inside break there by Tutian over to Volkova. Wagner puts up a big disc, and it is not able to be tracked down there by Simon Roche. FlyHigh's offense will get another chance to put in this point. It looks like FlyHigh is opting to go on a vertical stack this time. Not so happy with how their horizontal stack was able to do for them on the previous possession. Schaub puts it back to Windler. Windler with it on the sideline. Windler gets it backed up to Schaub. Schaub in power position, puts up a big huck. And that is going to work to Camilo Hernandez for the score as FlyHigh get their first point, making the score 1-1. So still not a clean point there by FlyHigh, but they were able to get the disc back. Lots of good pressure in that red zone defense and able to stop Zurich from capitalizing and getting another break. But score here now 1-1. Zurich is still up one break, and Zurich will get their first downwind offensive chance here in this next point.
David, can you ask Ingeborg if she wants to commentate with me? But Katie is here. Yeah, but she doesn't want to commentate. We're happy to have one commentator.
So FlyHigh here, putting up their first pull. We'll see a first look at FlyHigh's D-line and a first look at Zurich's O-line. Pull fielded easily, over to Hotz. Hotz now with the disc in the middle of the field. Gets this over. Disc now in the middle of the field with Amon. Amon looking for options, looking for Hotz. Hotz is defended well by Pascal Beans. Now Zinner has the disc. Nice pass to Amon. Amon gets the disc over, and now it's back to Hotz. Zurich likes to work a lot through Hotz. He's a very talented player who's played with the Free Speed Open team at World Ultimate Championships earlier this year. That pull goes a little bit off target, but captured in by Elmigo. Elmiger, of course, the disc gets back to Hotz after two passes. And there's Sieberts now with the disc. Nice patient offense here by Zurich, and there is the pass for the score. And it is called in for the goal. That is number 36, Andrea Gamitzer with the score. Lots of stuff moving through Hotz there. Exactly what we expected for that first Zurich offensive point. That brings the score to 2-1. Zurich still up one break. So for those just joining, my name is Ravi Vasudevan, and I have the pleasure to be joined now by Ingeborg Karlars, who's just joined me for this game. Ingeborg, what do you think about this game so far?
So far, very, very exciting. Both teams very patient with the disc so far. That's good to see.
So that was a clean hold for Zurich, which FlyHigh had not been able to do. First point, they gave up a break. Second point, they got the turnover, was able to get it back and then score. So nice clean offense there from Zurich, whereas FlyHigh, on the other hand, have yet to put in a clean offensive hold. They'll have another chance here, downwind.
Yeah, the wind has been really picking up gradually throughout the day. Sometimes it's gone, sometimes it's back again with a vengeance, so teams are going to want to be careful with their puts. Also going downwind, we've seen a lot of turnover so far today.
That is a short pull as Schaub picks up the disc, gets it to Lehmann. Back to Schaub. Gannon now with it on the sideline. Gets it back to Schaub. Schaub's getting every other disc so far to Guadango. Guadango over to Schaub. Puts it up the line to Lehmann. Lots of pressure on the downfield cutters. As I say that, Windler gets the up in cut, and she puts up a big one to Burzio. Stefano Burzio not able to come down with that one. Might have been out the back.
It was a difficult grab either way. I think they're calling a minor foul due to the contact before he fully was able to reach up for the disc. I understand the call. I'm wondering to what extent it affected his ability because he was already up in the air. Be interesting to see how they discuss this call.
Also not sure exactly. I think it's a contested foul, looks like, by the hand signals there.
Contested foul. It would have been a difficult grab to make there at the back of the end zone with a very, very high disc. However, I understand the call. There was contact impeding the play, but a good result just to send it back.
So Windler will now have the disc again. Florence Windler. There are two Windlers on this team. Chris Windler, her brother, was playing mainly on the D-line. She looks to center to Lehmann. Lehmann goes up the line. Now Lorenzo Guadango goes for the disc, and that is a hand block on Flo. That's her third turnover this game so far. She's got to be frustrated with her performance thus far, but she's a very strong player. We'll see if she can get things back together as Zurich try to get their next opportunity for a break. This is their third opportunity. They're 1 for 2 so far. Let's see what they can do with their third. Nice up the line to Tutian. Tutian gets it up to Zanner. Nice, easy up the line pass to Johannes Hellwagner, and that is a second break for Zurich, giving them the score 3-1.
Yeah, that was a brutally efficient possession after the turnover there by Headless. That was great offense, really secure on the disc there. That's what you want from your D-line, especially in windy conditions, for them to just get the disc and brutally secure the goal. Really well played.
So I said at the beginning of this game that I think Lausanne was pretty much the favorite coming into this game because they basically crushed everybody at both phases of this tournament so far. The closest score they had was a 15-8 victory over the Wizards in crossover play. But Headless, he seems to be looking a lot stronger right now. They're doing a lot of good things on defense, putting a lot of pressure on the cutters, making FlyHigh work through their handler sets, but also putting pressure on the dumps, but stopping every initiation play and taking FlyHigh out of their A game. Also, what I really like from Zurich is their D-line offense. Like you said, very, very smooth. That second break opportunity they had, FlyHigh was able to put a lot of pressure, able to get the disc back, but still I see a lot of patience and a lot of efficiency from the Zurich D-line offense so far.
Yeah, it was quick and brutal, but never contested. All the passes were really clean and open, and it almost seemed like FlyHigh was running behind the facts a little bit, scrapping together, but not able to put up an actual defense to contain Headless on that conversion.
So FlyHigh have called a timeout here, trying to get themselves together. Captain Jake Simon, I believe he's a captain, has decided to pause things a little bit. But it looks like a more or less standard line is coming back out on the field. Chris Windler crossing over right now, putting a little bit more power on here. They really need to get this upwinder if they want to stay in this game.
Now, Ravi, you were saying before how FlyHigh have looked uncontested so far during the Swiss Championships. They have, however, not yet faced Headless this Swiss Championship, so it's a bit of an unknown for them as well to see exactly what kind of Headless team is out there this year. And I think so far they're not really liking the strength of Headless.
Headless is playing super well, exactly like you said. But FlyHigh is an intelligent team. They're a smart team. They will start to adapt. We'll see if Headless can keep on to this lead or FlyHigh is able to change things up here. But right now, they're in a bad spot where they have to get some points with their O-line, and then their D-line is going to need a few breaks to get back in this game. So Headless in a good spot, but it's still very early here. 3-1 the score in favor of Headless. Headless still up 2 breaks here as they started on defense. So here the pull goes up. Nice downwind pull as Schaub looks to field it, but it is going to go out of bounds, so Schaub's going to take it at the brick mark here. We see FlyHigh favoring that horizontal initiation play. They've done that almost every point so far, but Headless has done a really good job at shutting down the initiation cuts. They seem to know exactly what FlyHigh wants and always force them into a dump position for their first throw. As I say that, of course, doesn't happen this time as Gannon makes a nice initiation cut to get the disc. He's looking for Lehmann. Lehmann is completely free in power position. No continuation huck for her. She looks for Christoph Windler, but does not able to get it, and there is a hand block by Tutzian. Looked like she was maybe going to call a foul, but she did not.
It did indeed look like she was thinking of it, instead running down to get there on defense, and that will go just a couple 10 meters too far.
A couple 10 meters.
A couple 10 meters, yeah. Hit that fence pretty high up. No one's jumped that high yet this game.
That is that ruthless
downwind.
That ruthless offense that you were talking about from the Zurich D-line. They are going to take every option they get immediately. This time did not work out for them. Maybe not reading the wind totally well on that throw as Benjamin Schaub gets the disc. And interesting, this is the second time this has happened, that after the turnover, FlyHigh has gone to a vertical set, even though off of the pull, they go into a horizontal set. So trying to mix things up when the first one doesn't work, try the other one. That throw too high for Galland as number 18, Annika Luzman gets the D for Zurich, and Zurich will get another chance here. Weber to pick up the disc.
Yeah, and just after she gets that D, she runs deep straight away. Didn't come, but second deep attempt now. Oh, very close on the defense there, but another break by Headless.
And that's Sebastian Hensen again. I believe he caught the score on another break before. That is 4-1. The score now in favor of Zurich. This is not what we expected from this Lausanne team, but I have to say Zurich is doing a really good job pressuring the making really good defensive pressure on Lausanne.
No, absolutely. Headless is looking clean. Despite that one overthrow, they threw it to a person who had position on that initial turnover in this point. And the next attempt, they just adjusted the disc a little for a perfect deep shot and the hold. Score, sorry. Not a hold, unfortunately.
So FlyHigh, you can see the frustration in the voices. You can hear the frustration from the captains, hear the frustration coming in. That's the body language we're seeing now as they are struggling right now. This is you can't say anything else. There's a struggle right now. Going down 3 breaks this early in the game. So we will see FlyHigh's offense line get back out there again. Again, the score is 4-1 in favor of Zurich, and Zurich started on defense. I did talk to Christoph Windler a little bit before this game, and he told me that FlyHigh does tend to struggle with the wind, so he was actually a little worried even though they've had such a good performance. But that is a big, big throw for Flo Windler. Can she read it? No, it's going to go out of bounds. And FlyHigh makes another mistake. And now they're going to have to give in. This is a tough spot for Zurich. They're going to have to go all the way upwind with their D-line offense, but it's been a pretty good offense so far this game.
Yeah, their D-line offense has looked like just any team's regular, this is an excellent offense, so I don't think Headless is too worried about it, considering the position they're in the game. Hopefully FlyHigh will be able to get it back, though. Tighten up this game a bit.
So we do see here Zurich walking up the disc. Phil Gannon on the mark. Disc is now centered for Zurich. That is number 51, Moritz Rohrkamp with the disc. Looking for a dump option. Gannon doing a great job of shutting things down. But eventually Weber is able to get the disc. Weber has been a key handler for this defensive line and able to find that nice break for Powell Bejan, who caught the big huck for an earlier break in this game. That looks like it was overthrown, or maybe the intended receiver was Moritz Rohrkamp. He gets the disc back, over to Bejan. Bejan looking for Weber. Gannon doing a good job of shutting things down, but a nice pass there from Bejan to Weber. Weber puts up a big huck, tries to go over the head of Schaub, but Schaub gets the disc, gets the D, and saves the possession for FlyHigh.
Yeah, that was a clutch move there by Schwab, able to come up with a D after all, because Headless was looking fierce and really on point again. That inside break to the dump was just a thing of beauty.
Schaub as well as Christoph Windler both play for Flying Angels Bern Open Team. We're both attending the EUCF, one of the strongest teams, actually the Swiss men's champions this year, I believe. Unless Free Speed won, I can never really remember which one of those two wins. But we're back here in the mixed division with Florence Windler getting it back to her brother Chris Windler. The two redheads working together as Flo puts up a big huck to Stefano Godongo, or Burzio, sorry. And that is not going to work out here, as that is another turnover from Flo Windler. A bit eager with her throws and just not solid this game so far, unfortunately. And Zurich here will get another chance as Weber goes to pick up the disc.
Yeah, on the one hand, you would like her to holster those throws now, but on the other hand, it's good for her to keep the confidence in her own game alive, hoping that they'll connect soon.
So Volklova with the disc and Flo Windler trying to put on a mark, trying to get back the disc she threw away. Now it's thrown around to Rohrkamp. Rohrkamp with a nice fake there. Gets the disc back to Volklova. Volklova puts up a big throw, but Lehmann's able to pick it up, and now Schaub with the disc. Schaub puts it around to Flo Windler. Windler back to Schaub. Schaub is looking. There's a pick call down the field, so things will take a little bit of a break.
That's why he's not seeing any options.
Chris Windler now with the disc on the sideline. Gets it over to Benji Schaub. Again, Windler and Schaub, the combination that both play for Flying Angels Bern. Both going to be at Wrocław, Poland, the EUCF in a couple of weeks. Two of the stronger players here on this FlyHigh team. But this team is a very deep team. They have this is one of the strengths I think they have over most of the Swiss competition, that they're good from top to bottom. Gannon gets the disc here, puts it up to Christoph Windler. And there is a pick on the field. Things a little messy here with the FlyHigh offense. I think we've cleared up the confusion. Disc goes back into play. Windler puts up a big throw. Yannick Galland is underneath it. Can she get to it? No. That is Moritz Rohrkamp getting in good position to prevent Galland from getting that disc.
That was a bit of a high throw for the shortest person on the field. She did have excellent position. Unfortunately, the defensive poach there twice her height and able to read it just about 2 meters earlier. God, it sucks when that happens.
It's better than 210 meters earlier.
210 meters, yes. That happens sometimes too.
So Weber here to start the possession as he puts up a big huck. Gets it back to Moritz again. But that one is D'd by Stefano Burzio. Second time there, Burzio and Gannon making sure that FlyHigh is able to hold on to that disc.
Yikes, that looked like an incredible amount of defensive effort here by this O-line, but really well done. I think the headless person just kind of standing behind them, hoping maybe it would fly his way after all, but FlyHigh able to really whack that one out of bounds.
To stop the disc from flying high into the hands of Zurich. Now we'll see as Christoph Windler gets in a round throw to Benji Schaub. Lots of float on that disc, which is great because he needed it. Back to Flo Windler in the middle of the field. Zurich just stifling the downfield options here for FlyHigh still as Galland gets it up to Lehmann, but she puts it a little too far. Lehmann not able to get there. And that is another opportunity. This is a long marathon point, and this really favors Zurich because Zurich's O-line players, they're rested, they're cool. They're just sitting here watching as the D-line is tiring out the star players on FlyHigh Lausanne, and Lausanne needs these players to get the points back on the board for them. So actually this is really favoring them to get all these different possessions here.
No, absolutely right. FlyHigh is working extra hard, has to work 3-4 times as hard as Headless to try to score these points they should be scoring with ease.
So that's Moritz Rohrkamp with the disc. Gets it over to Bejin. Bejin gets it back to Weber, the trusty handler on this D-line offense. Weber looking for Bejin, he finds him. Gets it over to Volklova. As something is called, I believe it is a travel.
It is indeed. It is indeed a travel call. He called one earlier in this possession, but the throw hadn't occurred yet. Now you have the awkward post-throw travel call.
It seems like the disc is continuing on, so I think he might have retracted the call, but saying watch it next time or something. One of those options.
Got my eyes on you.
There's a big hammer from Voklova, but it's picture perfect to Johannes Hellwagner. That guy's catching all the breaks for Zurich, and that is 5-1 to start off this Swiss final. Zurich in the lead.
Yikes. Yes, that's a stark score difference. Really well earned by Headless. Of course, their offense has looked really pristine. That overhead, in a way, quite outside of their regular toolbox, but picture perfect with FlyHigh poaching under, trying to prevent an inside break to the front of the end zone. And then, well, if you're going to poach way under, let's see if I can put something beautiful well over top. And that is exactly what that throw was.
I mean, that disc went super high. It didn't look like exactly what she was trying to do, but it was just in a space where there were absolutely no FlyHigh defenders. So.
No, exactly. And it's not as if FlyHigh has a height advantage on this team either way. All the height matchups are pretty equal. So given the fact that there was no FlyHigh defender near there to contest it, it was really, in the end, even if it was a bit height-wise overthrown, it was a very simple reception.
So I believe this is another timeout. I don't know if FlyHigh has a second timeout in this first half, or if not, but I think that was FlyHigh's timeout, as they are trying to fix their O-line's problems. It's really been a struggle for the offensive line here, as Zurich has put on an immense amount of pressure, and FlyHigh struggling a bit with the wind and struggling a bit with the defensive pressure from Zurich.
Yeah, I'm wondering, it does seem like FlyHigh is putting up a different line out on O this time. It'll be more their defensive contingent. Gonna see if they can do some damage.
We do see the body language here of FlyHigh on the sideline. They are very disappointed so far. Things are not going their way, but it looks like indeed they're putting their D-line out to see if they can just take some pressure off the O-line for now, because they got to get on the field and try and change things up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, FlyHigh isn't like heads down, defeated, but they are frustrated and confused as to why something that has worked so well for them so far, the Swiss Championships, is just not coming to fruition the way it usually does. And maybe it is that wind, that pesky wind, that is throwing off their game plan. In addition, of course, to a superb Headless defense. We cannot count that out completely, but maybe the defense in combination with the wind and those finals jitters really derailing FlyHigh's offense.
I think FlyHigh is a team that really has good set initiation plays, and Headless is doing a great job of shutting that down, making their handlers work through, and then FlyHigh's not really able to make a second option appear. So once those first cuts don't work, that has been working so easily for them all tournament, they get a bit confused. But here we do see the initiation cut work as FlyHigh's D-line gets out on the field, gets it over to Amici. Amici to Simon on the sideline. Simon, we also see some O-line players from Zurich on the field now. Both teams changing things up. Pascal Beans now with the disc on the sideline. Gets it back to Simon. Simon swings it around. It got a little overshot, and Liebert there able to get the disc, as Calvis Smith now has it on the sideline. The coach of this team hasn't been playing much because he's an O-line player, but he puts up a big huck there. And Seb is able to get the D there for FlyHigh.
Yeah, for a sec there, it looked like the defensive effort wasn't even needed, but then suddenly the wind disappeared and the disc fell down, and suddenly a very critical defensive play there. Now, we'll see if the second attempt by this D-line offense will work out.
It's a tough thing being a D-line and having been out of the game for so long, and it's easy to make one little throwing mistake if you haven't touched the disc that often so far this game, and I think that's just what happened there. Simon put the disc up a little too high, but FlyHigh able to get the disc back now.
Of course, they are playing against the Headless's offense on defense, so maybe both teams' sides right now a little too well rested makes it an even matchup, and as I say that, an unfortunate turnover there in the handler space.
Now Siebert with the disc, as trying to get the home force on, but that is a great movement of the mark there. Pascal Beans was sold to lunch and completely bites on that fake, giving an easy break option for Headless there as they score to make it 6-1. So the D-line changing it up, putting the D-line on O was not enough to change things up here, and 6-1 here to score. Really not what we were expecting here in the Swiss final.
No, absolutely not. Before this game, we were selling that FlyHigh gold medal. We were convinced that that was going to happen. We thought maybe there would be competition. Thought there would be a bit of a struggle, but not like this. This is just a brutal showing.
And I have to say, we had the pleasure of playing Headless in the semifinal yesterday. Both of us played for Geneva Wizards, and Headless were actually a lot stronger in the second half than they were in the first half. So that does not bode well for what could happen here for Lausanne. But Headless in a really good position here, 6-1 up, and traditionally, at least for the game that I've seen them play when I played against them, good in the second half as well.
No, yeah, both times that the Wizards have played Headless this season, Headless have had a decent first half followed by a much stronger second half, coming back from deficits. And hopefully that won't let them mean that they let FlyHigh come back from that deficit.
We'll see how things work out, but FlyHigh have got to get their heads in this game, as this is a very frustrating place to be. That is a great pull there.
Bizarrely good.
Schaub now has the disc in the middle of the field. He puts up a big huck to Camilo, and he's able to read that one. There it is. Camilo Hernandez with the grab. Nice picture-perfect huck from Schaub. That brings them to 6-2, and that brings some life back into this FlyHigh sideline.
Yeah, absolutely. A little late, but better than never. FlyHigh are back on the board with their second point. Energized now to continue on in this game.
And this is something we're going to see now, the Zurich O-line. Another thing that can happen, you know, your D-line gets so many breaks in a row. I don't know if they were, you know, playing catch on the sideline, getting themselves warmed up, but hopefully they're able to keep themselves composed after not having touched the disc for maybe 20 minutes here so far in this game.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between being mentally in the game on the sideline, urging your teammates on, and actually being in the game while on the field. Suddenly you're like, oh, I have to do the running, I have to do the work. Whoa, I'm not used to this anymore. So we'll see how the offense adjusts on that.
But the first time that, I believe the only time they've had the disc as an O-line so far this game, they completely scored without a single turnover, which FlyHigh, that point they were able to do. That was the first time they were able to do that so far this game. Their other point they scored was also not a clean one. So Zurich's O-line is very strong, especially anchored by Dennis Holtz, the player for Free Speed, as he's going to field the pull here. No, sorry, it's Siebert that's going to field the pull and give it to him.
Holtz, people for that.
Holtz puts up a big huck. Lots of bodies underneath it. Can Amon get to it? He cannot, and that is a big D from Arnaud Garon, but there is some call. There was definitely a lot of jostling there for that disc.
There was absolutely a lot of jostling for the disc. However, the jostling started quite early, so I'm not really liking this very delayed foul call, because I think by the time he would have been able to catch it, it was out of bounds. Granted, I cannot see the line from here, but it looked very close to the fence.
So a bit of a conversation here, I believe. What I couldn't get a grasp also on is who was initiating the contacts. They were both jostling for space, and I believe the call here is going to be a
contested foul. Disc will go back, giving FlyHigh a second opportunity at the defense and Headless a second opportunity for the score.
So the disc is going to be back in the trusty hands of Dennis Holtz, as they're going to have to reset back to where they were when they threw things. They threw that pass.
Yeah, Holtz is not a guy that you want able to huck it deep.
So you see that FlyHigh is indeed trying to prevent that, trying to get the disc in someone else's hands. You see number 2 there, Noemi Guadango, trying to get in her lane, giving the swing over away from Holtz. They're trying to get the disc out of his hands. So now whatever Pochi set they wanted to do, they are getting out of it, going into person-to-person defense. Holtz now has the disc, gets it up to number Yona Hepaaho. Holtz gets the disc back up the field to Gameter. Gameter swings it around to Elmigo. Elmigo back to Holtz, and that's going to be a...
It was a pick call further downfield, and Holtz almost able to grab it, even though he completely stopped running for a sec there.
So the pick did affect the play. At least the pick call did here, and Holtz now with the disc. You see Christoph Windler trying to take that Holtz matchup as Amon gets the disc. Holtz dancing around. Wow, I did not think he was open there, but Amon able to find Holtz there.
I mean, he wasn't, but he kind of always is.
Oh, that just bounces off the hands of the Zurich player. And this gives FlyHigh a chance to work it up the field. But like we said, this is a tough spot to be in. Zurich have been able to do it, but FlyHigh's offense has not been very solid, especially going upwind here. Can they march it all 70 yards up the field with their D-line offense?
It's definitely a tough call, also because not only is it upwind, the wind is kind of pushing them back into that corner. As long as they don't let it phase them mentally, they should be all right. But yeah, they've struggled to do it so far. Granted, this is a different line out there.
So Chris Windler has the disc now. Pascal Beans making some movements in the handler space, but now able to get free. Disc gets up to Noemi Guadongo. Guadongo puts up a big huck. And that player definitely stopped running when the pick was called. The disc is going to go back because the deep receiver definitely stopped running on that pick.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I'm not entirely sure when the call occurred, but the receiver should not have stopped running. Clearly very much did. Started even returning to where she was when the pick was called. However, it's always best to just keep going until you've caught the disc or made your defensive play, just in case there's this before or after.
However, if the pick was called during the throwing motion, that would be a turnover in standing, but I believe it was called just before the throwing motion starts. Noemi Guadongo with the disc again, gets it over to Pascal Beans. Beans gets a nice undercut and just off the hands there of Arnaud Garin. And Zurich here with Holtz picking up the disc with a chance to get another hold. Seaberth completely unmarked there. Gets it over to Elmigo. Elmigo back to Seaberth. Holtz now with it, sees an open option, and that is an easy score there. If it was in, it was in. I believe that's number. Which number was that? Well,
93.
Anyways, that was a great score there for Zurich. And sorry, I can't see the player's number.
Franzi Sinner, I believe it was.
Franzi Sinner. Okay, so Sinner with a great cut there, definitely takes the contact from the FlyHigh defender after that catch.
Yes, an unfortunate amount of contact there after the catch, somewhat unnecessary, but still able to hold on through that contact. And there's a really strong player here for the Headless side. You often see her getting second disc after second disc for this side. Very involved, strong cutter, strong receiver. Furious player, really, all around. She's got that game face on all day. I love it.
And that brings the score to 7-2, still in Zurich's favor. So if Zurich can manage to get a break here, they will get the half 8-2, and that is a big deficit. But FlyHigh's O-line is now going to get downwind, and they're able to clean things up before. We'll see what they can do now.
They're finally a little bit rested, so hopefully that'll have their gears going strong.
We see more of the traditional O-line here, nobody crossing over. This is exactly the line that started things off here as Lehmann centers the disc to Schaub, starting in a vertical formation. Galan with the cut, but Schaub doesn't like what he sees. Looks for Lehmann on the dump. Doesn't find anything there either. Gets it over to Lorenzo Guadongo. Guadongo puts up a big throw to Stefano Burcio. Can he read this one down? He can, but was he in? It is called not in. It's not in. The call was not in, but that call's been retracted, and now is a score. That's an easy score there for FlyHigh, bringing the score to 7-3.
I mean, yes and no, because Burcio stopped cutting deep, and then the throw came, and then he had to cut deep all over again. So I had my heart in my throat there a little bit, whether he was going to be able to make up the ground that he'd lost because he was coming under.
Well, just a great throw there by Lorenzo Guadongo there to give him the opportunity to still come under it.
Absolutely, because they have been, a lot of the hugs deep have just been zingers back into the net or out the sideline on the left here. So definitely very well weighted to allow adjustment time by the receiver, even if it got pushed a little around by the wind.
So again, the Zurich O-line gets a downwind opportunity. So far, FlyHigh is unable to break them so far this game. They were able to get a turnover on the last possession, but unable to convert that to a break. So now we will see that Zurich O-line and see if they can manage to punch this one in. And if they do, that is an 8-3 half. But so far, only 7-3.
In truth, I'm expecting a very clean hold by Headless, but let's see what FlyHigh can put up to them.
We do see a pretty traditional D-line out here, though Florence Windler, an O-line player, has crossed over. FlyHigh know that this might be their last D point of this half, so they're putting on a bit more power here.
Benji as well. Bit of security after the turn.
So a few players moving on here, a bit of a power D-line for FlyHigh. Really need to get a break here, as we see Christoph Windler taking that Holtz matchup again. Was able to slow him down a little bit, but still wasn't able to stop him from getting the disc. And you see Holtz there, such lightning quick movements. Great pass into space there for Amon. Amon gets the disc centered to Holtz. Holtz now looking for something, doesn't like what he sees. Nice cut by Amon, completely sells Pascal Biens again. Fire has been called. That means whatever defense they were doing, they are now calling off. And that throw is going to be too low. And now, Noemi Godongo with the disc as FlyHigh have an opportunity again for an upwind break.
We're just going to have a headless injury call, I think, there. Player hurting her elbow as she tried to go down low for that disc.
So the disc is now going to get tapped back in. There is a discussion about something. I'm not sure exactly what. Disc is now tapped back in. Noemi Godongo looking for Jake Simon. Jake Simon gets the disc. Holtz covering him now. Simon, big fake, trying to open space up, gets to Christoph Windler. Windler. Galan makes a cut, but Schaub kind of cut her off there, actually. Disc gets over to Flo Windler. Noemi Godongo gets the disc, but there was a pick called. I believe that one's going to go back because I believe she was completely free. Her defender was nowhere near. Definitely stopped on that pick call. So the disc is going to go back.
That's a shame. That was a really great grab to just be taken away from you there.
Yeah, she went up really strong for that. Though she was free from her defender, there were two handler defenders were coming on her, so she had to really go up strong to secure that disc. But it would have been a turnover otherwise, so it is good she got it.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
So Christoph Windler now with the disc, middle of the field. No dumps right now. Noemi Godongo coming to save possession. Nice throw, in cut to Flo Windler. Flo Windler gets to her brother Chris. Nice forward pass to Noemi Godongo in power position. She puts it up big to Yannick Galland. Is this going to work? She reads it very well. Yannick Galland with the grab. Now on their doorstep, this would be the first break for FlyHigh. And there is a fast count called, I believe a disagreement as to where she had to come back in. The stall's coming back in on 0, so they get a full stall count here now for the end zone. Christoph Windler, just able to save that, and Windler to Windler connection gives FlyHigh their first break.
Wow, that got a little tense there at the end. I really thought that was a hand block by the mark, but Windler... It was. No, okay, yes, but I thought it was a decisive one that would end up with a disc on the ground. Great effort there by Windler to get it, and really not breaking his stride at all, throwing it straight to Flo for the score. Another Windler to Windler there.
And that brings the score to 7-4. FlyHigh getting their first break of the game and an upwinder at that. Staying alive here in this game, and they put in a bit of power on that line. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with the next rotation, but it looks like most of the players that were in on that point are coming off, and they're putting in another fresh line.
Not entirely though. I see a lot of the same girl power on the line. Just one sub there.
Yeah.
Two of the guys returning as well, I think.
And we do see Noemi Godongo and Yannick Galland, who made that great catch, staying on. Benji Schaub staying on for another point. But a few other changes. Nelson Amici coming on this point, as well as Sam Oswald. So, yeah, you're right. Keeping about half the line, switching about half the line.
50-50.
And Headless, on the other hand, looks like they're keeping most of their O-line, though Lucas Calvey-Smith is coming in here to clean things up on the handler side. He was not in the previous point. And I believe this is Headless's first time going upwind with their O-line. I could be wrong on that one. I'm not sure about the first time they had it, but we'll see how they do as an O-line with this upwinder.
They haven't had to do so recently, no. A whole new wind situation for them. See how they fare.
Disc now in the hands of Franzi. And wow, nice catch there by Calve Smith under a lot of pressure from Hernandez. And Yannick is calling a stall out that was in her hands for a very long time. And it is uncontested stall out. So FlyHigh with another chance to get another break here.
Yeah, that was great intensity there by FlyHigh, really making the resets super hard for Headless to make, and eventually a well-deserved stall out. Nicely done.
So Benji Schaub to pick up the disc, center things out here, gets it over to Pascal Beans. Pascal doesn't like the cuts he's seeing so far, looks for Noemi Guadongo. Guadongo gets it back to Pascal Beans. Beans with the disc. Nice inside break to Galland. Galland gets it to Hernandez. And there is a pick called. It seems like things had stopped at some point a long time ago. Or travel was called, it seems, on Galland.
It does indeed seem like there was a travel called, since that is exactly the hand signal that was given. And it'll come back to Galland now. Just discussing the stall. Just discussing the stall now.
Galland with the disc now, gets it to Guadongo. Guadongo finds Hernandez for a nice in cut there by Hernandez. Doesn't like the cut from Oswald. Doesn't like the cut from Amici. Looks back to Guadongo. Oh, a travel has been called. Pascal Beans into space, but Holtz able to get a nice sneaky D there. That was a bit too much to ask for that throw, and Hernandez not able to get it in front of the speedy Holtz. Radio is being called. That's usually a call for force middle, but that's not what he's doing, so I don't know what FlyHigh's radio is. Kyle Smith puts it a big throw up to Elmingo. Elmingo gets it to Holtz. That's a high disc for a small man, and Pascal Beans gets the D.
Seemed like a strip call there for a second, but retracted. And FlyHigh immediately convert for the score.
Benji Schaub there getting the disc to Nelson Amici for the break. And they are fired up and back in this game. From 6-1, we are now to 7-5 here as FlyHigh are getting in on a bit of a run.
Yeah, no, it's nicely done. Finally feeling the energy from the FlyHigh side. Headless, a bit tepid now. I mean, they weren't that exactly fired up and loud before. They were just strong, quiet, confident. They still have that quiet, looking a little bit less confident, a little rattled now that FlyHigh is finally putting them through the paces a little.
FlyHigh is calling here for 4 women. It is the left end zone for this half that will get to decide the gender. So that was something that I also talked to Christoph Windler about earlier before this game. He said that they think that they have a advantage when it comes to the women. The women have been doing a lot for FlyHigh so far this game, so maybe it's a good strategy here. And we do see Simon coming onto this D-line, along with the likes of Christoph Windler and Stefano Burzio. On the female side, they have Guadongo still out there. I think her 3rd point in a row there on D, but she's just that strong force on D, as well as Flo Windler. And I think that's Lamon over there on the side.
Yep.
And Alex Carpilo also out there as well. So we do see Holtz back out there for the 3rd time in a row playing on this O-line. Likes of Amon for Zurich as well. Elmigo out there for another point, as well as Sieberth. Holtz gets the disc to Sieberth now. There's definitely a poachy look there from FlyHigh. Looks like a bit of a... They're just giving the swings, and you see Flo Windler, and there a bit of just lapse of focus there from Voklova, who's been playing really good this game. I think she's just looking upfield before she caught the disc. And Christoph Windler puts up a big floaty disc to his sister, Flo Windler, and that's another break, bringing the score to 7-6 here.
Holy moly. Way to go, FlyHigh. No, really unfortunate drop there, kind of catching it before she actually caught it, kind of action right on the end zone line. And FlyHigh with a courageous surround break, but Flo going up strong and just bringing it in.
I think there have been more breaks than O-line scores so far in this half, which is an interesting thing. So maybe it's actually an advantage to start on defense here in this game. But score now 7-6, and I believe that Headless is calling a timeout as their O-line, I believe, has been broken. It was 7-2 to...
3 times in a row at least?
Yeah, I think there was 1 hold and 3 breaks so far, so FlyHigh on a very strong run. Now, Headless taking a timeout here, I can understand that, but that also does allow FlyHigh to put out a strong power line here on D, and they're in a very, I mean, they're down, but that puts them in a comfortable spot where they kind of have the momentum, whereas Zurich's O-line is a bit frustrated and flustered right now, so it's a tough spot to be here for Zurich. They got to go upwind, and with the game momentum going away from them.
No, true. That's why I think they're taking this time out, just to rest their players, their legs, but also their minds, to try to recapture the energy and the focus that they had starting out in this game. Because I think especially the last turnover that they had was a lapse of focus, and even potentially the really closely contested throw in the previous point that looked like it was going to be a strip call on Holtz, but it wasn't quite. It was a difficult throw to make, and maybe a slight lapse of focus from Headless, kind of thinking they can get away with that stuff, but FlyHigh finally saying, no, you can no longer get away with that shit.
You can say that, but you said they were, you know, so focused and structured at the beginning of this game. But actually, the beginning of this game, it was their D-line's offense that was so focused and structured. Their O-line did score their first point very easily, but didn't do as much earlier on in this game. And it's their O-line that's failing them, whereas their D-line definitely did the work. Same thing here on FlyHigh's side. Their O-line put themselves in a big hole in there. It's now their D-line coming back. So again, very strange half in that, I haven't done the math exactly, but I do believe there have been more breaks than holds so far this game.
No, absolutely. I think sometimes, you know, teams try to think in these huge structures, try to make things more complicated than they need to be, start dividing the team up into O-lines and D-lines, and maybe people aren't good at dividing up their O-lines and D-lines, and maybe everybody currently playing D should just be on the O-line, both teams.
Well, Headless not agreeing with you. Still, most of their O-line is out there. They didn't switch things up here at this point. We do see Holtz, we see Calvin Smith, we see Amon, and we see Elmingo on the male side, as well as Seaberth on the women's side, who have been big contributors here for this Headless team. Great there, catch by Franzi. Franzi has no options right now. He's able to get it back to Holtz on the dump. Holtz gets it up to Seaberth, who manages to,
with her head.
manages to catch that one. I think her ponytail helped her out a bit on that one. Yona Hopa with the disc. Back to Calve Smith. Calve Smith to Holtz. FlyHigh doing a very good job of forcing Headless back, forcing them into their dump reset structure. I mean, their dump reset structure is good, but they're not able to get the disc downfield at all, and that is due to FlyHigh's good downfield defense. But so far, no one's really able to slow down Holtz. We see Jake Simon taking the matchup now, but so far he's been able to get the disc back whenever he wants it. Calve Smith with the disc. A pick was called like 5 seconds ago, but I don't know that it affected Gannon there. So Gannon checking the disc back in. Calve Smith. Nice fake there, but that disc is going to be really high. Elmingo reads it beautifully. And Elmingo does not like what he sees downfield. Holtz finally shut down by Jake Simon, and he's luckily getting the foul because the stall count must have been rising there. Amici unfortunately fouling there. So Elmingo gets the disc back to Holtz finally. Holtz has been looking for it for a while. Back to Elmingo, a little bit of handler give go, motion. Downfield things are sloppy, but Amon able to get a nice cut on the under. Has it on the sideline, is looking for a dump option. Holtz is great movement there by Jake Simon, but a great grab there by Dennis Holtz over to Calve Smith. A lot of pressure here. This is not a comfortable looking offense. They are being forced to make the moves they don't want to make. And there we see Franzi with the disc again. Gets it back to Calve Smith. Calve Smith, nice high release. Open the disc up to Holtz, and there's a pick call there on the field, but I believe it was after. And Calve Smith is complaining that it's too loud. Well, you're playing a final, buddy. It's going to be loud out here.
Yeah, it's an interesting call to make during a stoppage. Everybody be quiet on the field so I can hear myself think, but okay.
So Holtz now with the disc. No, I think he was just saying he didn't hear the pick call. There's the disc up to Elmingo. Elmingo just puts it into space, and Calve Smith collects the score, and that'll do it for the first half. 8-6 in favor of Zurich.
Yeah, it's a strong and exciting first half we've had. Headless currently up, but not with the lead we initially thought that they might have in this half. FlyHigh have done an excellent job to really ratchet up the pressure they're able to put, come away with some holds, come away with some nice defensive plays, and they are a lot more in this game than they ever were before. That last defensive run by FlyHigh here in this point, they really made Headless work excruciatingly hard for that score.
So like you said, just to recap, things went not quite FlyHigh's way as Zurich went up 6-1 to start this game. At that point, I believe the score was then 7-2 after they traded a couple of points, and then FlyHigh went on a tear, bringing it back to 7-6 before Zurich were able to punch in another hold. Great comeback there from FlyHigh Lausanne, but so far Zurich still has the lead, and another advantage they have right now is that Zurich found a place to hang out in the timeout during the halftime in the shade, whereas FlyHigh stuck in the sun. So we'll see if that plays a role here in the second half.
Yeah, I think FlyHigh is just being cocky and confident with their halftime positioning here. They're not leaving this field, they're not retreating, whereas Headless have turned tail and coyly maneuvered themselves into the shadow. That's not a very confident move. It might be a very masterful and clever move, but it's not confident, Ravi.
Confidence versus a good idea. This is what we're decision-making versus confidence. This is often what comes down to an ultimate, and here you see the two choices being made by FlyHigh and Zurich.
Like every terrible huck that comes down for your team.
That's confidence versus good decision-making.
Exactly. Sometimes it works.
And sometimes it doesn't. So we're going to take a quick break here as the teams prepare for the second half. We'll be back with you in a few minutes when this second half starts. Score now 8-6 in favor of Headless Ultimate Zurich against FlyHigh Lausanne in the Swiss Mixed Finals in the Championships 2018.
Yeah, sure. That's why it's here. I think there's a lot of rubbish. Oh, yes. So. Oh, can it boost? Yeah.
How many people are watching? Can you see? I don't know.
Swiss Ultimate Mixed Championship. We have FlyHigh in Lausanne blue and Headless Ultimate Zurich in white. And so far the score is 8-6 in favor of Zurich. They had a great first half start. Lausanne was able to get a nice comeback. And right now, Zurich with the advantage as they start on offense going upwind. Seabrith now with the disc in a side stack formation. Gets it to Tutian. Tutian now with the disc, looking for a disc. Finds Seabrith in a great power position. Puts up a big disc for Hamann, but Pascal Beans is there, but Hamann able to read it perfectly as Beans cannot find where the disc is coming from. That's an interesting offense, but it's going to work.
Yeah, I think if that hadn't been caught, there might have been a bit of a foul call there by the thrower. That throw pretty much what she wanted, but there was a lot of contact as she released it from behind. But yeah, Ben's just really struggling. Like, he had position, but he had no idea where the disc was, so he kept struggling for position, ending up losing position, while the Headless player was able to keep his eyes on the disc and catch it.
Yeah, that's that classic throw, you know, you throw it up, and your receiver is on the break side, and so you throw it kind of over the defender, and it seems a lot of times that the defender should be in good position for it, but it's really hard for them to read the disc coming over, whereas Hamann is just able to sit there watching the disc coming towards him as Beans looks for position. Great throw there by Seabrith, and that's a great hold. 9-6 now for Zurich.
Absolutely. Lausanne's Capillo almost being able to get a hand in there, but just a little late with the help defense.
And also that sneaky throw to get Seabrith into power position. That was not exactly what I was expecting, and Seabrith able to snag that and take advantage immediately.
But it was so pretty. So pretty.
So now here, Lausanne going to have to work upwind as Schaub gets the disc to Lehmann. Lehmann finds Guadongo. Lorenzo Guadongo this time. Finds Hernandez on the undercut. Hernandez finds Burzio. Burzio does not like the cut from Guadongo. Looks it off. Finds Lehmann a bit high, but Lehmann able to track it down. Lehmann now in the middle of the field looking for Schaub. Doesn't go around. Finds Lorenzo Guadongo. A nice come through defensive pressure by Headless. As Sebastian Hinzen almost gets a D on that one, but it's not going to count. I do not know what the call was here.
There was a pick further downfield a little while ago.
I'm not sure it affected Hinzen and Guadongo, because Hinzen looked like he was still making quite a defensive play on that disc. The disc now with Schaub. Schaub gets to Gallant. Gallant doesn't like what he sees up fin, gets it to Lorenzo Guadongo. Guadongo likes the throw to Lehmann. It's going to be too high, though, and Weber's going to get it. Hernandez doing a good job there on the mark to stop that deep option, because there was definitely a streaker deep. The disc now with Elmingo. Elmingo puts it high, up to Hellwagner. Hellwagner's looking downfield. Finds Elmingo in space. Oh, sorry, that's Rohrkamp. Apologies. Rohrkamp puts up a big backhand, and Galland able to get her hand on it, but it's not going to be enough, as I believe that is Johannes Hellwagner with another score on the break side for Zurich. So that's a break score, first one of the second half, as the score is now 10-6 in favor of Zurich.
Yeah, that's a brutal reality check on defense where you're able to get your hand on the disc and tap it away from the immediate offensive players in your area, only to have some guy just swoop in and still catch it for the score.
Some guy. I don't know what gender had to do with this skateboard, but
it adds frustration.
So that's a break there for Zurich, and they get back on a bit of a lead, a bit of a cushion now, 10-6. FlyHigh again in a bit of a hole, but we saw them have a nice strong comeback late in the first half. We'll see if they can pull something out here in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, this game is by no ways over, so FlyHigh hoping coming back out on D. Looks like almost the same line, one or two changes of personnel there, and they're ready to go. Shake off that frustration and turn it into a score.
We do see Galland stepping out there, I believe, for the third point in a row this half, and maybe Flo Windler as well. They are tightening their rotation a bit, putting their stars out there a bit more often, because they're realizing that it's game could get away from them really quickly if they don't. So Zurich with the pull here, as FlyHigh has a downwind opportunity here with Schaub collecting the pull, getting it to Lehmann. Lehmann finds Yannick Galland for the undercut. Galland, nice flow here to Flo. to Hernandez on the sideline. Hernandez doesn't like what he sees upfield, puts it up to Christoph Windler. Christoph Windler on the sideline, puts up a big blade to Flo, and Flo Windler able to come down with that. Another Windler to Windler connection as FlyHigh make the score 10-7.
Wow, was that throw necessary? Let's just put it up high into the wind and not really care about the consequences. Heart in throat yet again, but Windler coming up strong and catching it. Flo, that is, going up strong despite the Headless pressure around her.
Yeah, there was a male Headless player poaching off and almost able to get under it as that disc floated up for ages, it seemed. But Flo getting the score. They all count the same. It's now 7-10 in favor of Headless Ultimate Zurich. So Headless going to get a chance here on downwind offense as FlyHigh are going to have to go on that run that they did earlier this game if they want to stay alive. I do think that Lausanne has had a very good defensive plan late in the second half there, really shutting down the handler play from Zurich with the zone looks. We'll see if they come out here as a straight person-to-person defense or if they're going to come out in zone. It looks pretty person-to-person as Hotz puts up a big hook to Haman. Beans again has position, but Aman able to get in front of him. Wow, what an amazing track down there by Aman. Beans completely frustrated. He had position on that all the way, and Aman looped around him to get that score. Just great positioning there from that Zurich player. You can see Beans throw his hat in frustration. He should have had that D.
He should have, but it's kind of a replay of the earlier score where Beans had position. I think he lost it again. Somehow he was just too busy with the disc this time and didn't see where the Headless receiver was going. Ended up losing position. So close to making the defensive player for the disc.
It's always a difficult decision playing on those downwind defensive points. Should you focus on your person or track down the disc? Where do you find that balance of when you should stop looking at the disc, focus on the person, stopping the person, focus on the disc? And I think Beans put a little bit too much effort on the disc and lost his person there, like you said. But that's going to be a score, Hotz to Aman, which is a connection we've seen a lot this game. 11-7, Zurich in the lead, 4 points away from a Swiss championship.
Yeah, FlyHigh that time not able to set up their defensive play that they've been setting up so far and just waited 2 seconds too long, and Hotz only needs one to huck it super deep, so...
So now that pull is going to sail out of bounds as I believe Lehmann is going to collect the pull, take it from the brick mark. So FlyHigh here with the downwind offensive opportunity. It's very key. I mean, you really need to get the breaks to win, but your offense has to stay solid if you want to get back in this game as well. It's a very hard thing to do when you're down in this hole. Great shutdown of the initiation cut from Windler. Lehmann does not like what she likes, and Christoph Windler, both Windler siblings, completely shut down in both of their options so far. Now finding Christoph Windler on the side as he gets it up to Gannon. Gannon, Galland was open deep, but a good mark from Bejum able to stop Gannon from throwing that one. And now the throw goes to Florence Windler, but Lehmann putting a little, not quite enough on that downwind throw, and that downwind always pushes those discs down a little bit more than you'd like, and that one out of Florence Windler's reach as Zurich get to work upwind now. That is a big throw, and Lehmann able to get it back for Lausanne. A lot of excitement here in this final. Cheeky little scuba there from Christoph Windler to Gannon. Gannon fakes the inside, fakes the around, doesn't take either. Back to Windler. Windler gets it over to Noemi Guadongo. Guadongo gets it to Phil Gannon. Great grab there by Phil Gannon. Puts it in. Oh, and almost a grab there by Florence Windler, but not able to hold on to it. That's the kind of catch I'm used to seeing her make, actually. Those tough catches hitting her in the hand, but this time not lucky enough, and Zurich will get another chance. Last time they put it up in that wind with a bit too much spice. We'll see if they can take things a bit more safe here as Bejum has the disc on the sideline. Gets it over to Hainzen. Hainzen puts up a big disc, and that one's going to be too far for number 16, Priska Zahner, and FlyHigh will get another chance.
Yeah, that disc was a little bit too far for everybody on this field.
I would have had it. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so Christoph Windler to pick up the disc. Florence Windler going deep for him. He doesn't like it though. Or just a nice flat mark there, really trying to stop FlyHigh's hooks, and that's something I think has been working for Zurich so far this game. I haven't noticed too much of a deep game, and there's a layout D from number 88, Sebastian Heinzen, has been playing great on defense so far this game. So far, Zurich not able to find an option in the end zone yet, and Bejam gets the break for Zurich. That is 12-7 there, as number 88, Sebastian Heinzen, with an incredible D, layout D there in the handler space.
Wow, yeah, that was really nice work. More than making up for his overthrow just before. And partially, I'm not 100% sure he had contact on the disc, but maybe just enough that when Windler went to catch it, it ended up bouncing out of his hands, getting distracted by that layout effort.
And we see FlyHigh, I believe, here taking a timeout. The score is 12-7 in favor of Zurich. If you're FlyHigh, what are you saying in this timeout huddle right now, Ingeborg?
We've done it before, we'll do it again. I think FlyHigh having a little bit of a reprise of the first half right now. Not quite as desperate situation as before, but stuff hasn't been working out for them in these last couple points.
Well, they are down 5. That's how much they were down before as well, and it's later in the game. So I would say it's a more dire situation than before.
Yes, I'm just saying that their efforts on the field have been a lot stronger than they were in the first half, where it really seemed like Headless could do no wrong and FlyHigh were struggling to do anything they tried, as a result of the Headless defense as well, of course. But right now, I think FlyHigh, yes, maybe points-wise in a similar situation, but energy-wise, capability-wise, they have been stronger in the second half so far than they were in the first half of the first half.
So we will see what they can pull out here. This is a difficult situation. They're down 5 points, 12-7. Headless need to score 3, and FlyHigh need to score 8. That is a big difference there in the score. But FlyHigh, like we saw them put on a big run late in the first half, they're going to have to do it again here at the end of the second half.
Plus, we've seen this kind of comeback before this weekend. We saw it just now in the small final that we lost.
Yeah, we as the Wizards, we just lost against Panthers Next Gen. I don't know if we were up 12-7, but
no, but
yeah.
An incredible second half from the other team that we definitely saw.
So we'll see if FlyHigh can get themselves together mentally. I think that's a big part of what's been going on here as well. I mean, Zurich's been playing great defense, and FlyHigh's been struggling with the wind. But I think mentally they've been very hot and cold. When they were on that fiery comeback, you could see the energy pouring out of the sideline. When they were getting in the hole, you can see them kind of get deflated a bit. A couple players still trying to get them motivated, but you can see the body language is shifting from point to point in this game. And you see here on the sideline, Nelson Amici trying to get some high fives, trying to get the energy back up on this sideline, because they need that. That's what they need, is mental energy here in this game. So, pull going up as FlyHigh go for an upwind offensive point. Schaub fielding the pull. Gets it to Lehmann. Lehmann finds Hernandez. That's a little bit far, but Hernandez able to track it down. Hernandez now on the sideline. That is a very tough throw, but Galland able to come up with it. Galland with a nice inside throw to Schaub. Schaub to Lehmann. Lehmann to Guadongo. FlyHigh moving the desk really well so far. Guadongo with a big throw to Flo Windler. Can she read it? No. Unfortunate. It looked like she could have had that one, but it was a bit tough to read there in the wind with that high blade.
I think we both read it wrong. I think by the time it fell, it was completely behind her. No, it was a really, really difficult read for her to make in that position.
So unfortunate, because FlyHigh looked really good moving the disc. It never got, once Galland had that amazing grab, they never got above, I think, stall 2, just able to get a nice, easy, open option all the time. And Flo Windler was open there, but the throw just a little bit off, and that connection just wasn't there. So Zurich now with a chance to break, and this would put them in a very commanding position as they are now going downwind, though the wind is shifting a bit. It's going a bit more towards the camera right now than it was before. Weber here getting the disc. I believe that's Elmingo. No, that's Rohrkamp again. I keep calling him Elmingo. Wow, that is a bit of a collision there. Bejam. Hernandez trying to get that D. Bejam had position. Definitely a bit of a reckless play there by Hernandez.
Yeah, I think Hernandez taking the inside lane to where Beijing wasn't quite at that moment, but then Beijing taking that one final step to really make sure he caught it, and then just a full-on whack on the side by Hernandez.
Luckily, Beijing seems to have gotten up. It's a uncontested foul as Beijing now has the disc. Finds Rohrkamp on the sideline. Rohrkamp fakes it up the line. Weber now looking for something, but a nice hammer over to Volklova. Volklova puts the disc out, and that is just a little bit too far for Priska. No, that's Annika Luzman, sorry. Not able to get that one, so FlyHigh getting another chance to hold on to this offensive possession. Schaub with the disc on the sideline. But he is on the weak side. That is a nice floaty pass to Guadongo, completely changing the angle of attack. Guadongo puts the disc up to Hernandez. Hernandez now on the sideline. Florence Windler now getting closer and closer to the doorstep. Looking for the around pass, finds Lorenzo Guadongo. Guadongo finds Burzio. Burzio now with it. Burzio looking for Lorenzo. Nice pass into space for Lorenzo Guadongo. So far, they're not able to do much downfield. Lehmann now, nice throw into space by Guadongo. Lehmann does not take that easy option to Hernandez. There he gets a tight one to Hernandez. Hernandez now on the doorstep. Lehmann completely free. Gets it to Schaub. Nice inside pass, completely misread there, but Galan completely gets trucked by Rohrkamp, and she is not happy with that. And Nelson Amici trying to get his team pumped up and trying to get some positive energy out of that, but you see Galan is very frustrated as Rohrkamp completely trucks her in that play.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate that the defensive player did that. I mean, FlyHigh, I think, in one way, lucky to have that, because I think the pass was initially to Flor Windler at the front of the stack, who decided to cut to the open side just as the disc was pelting towards the wrong side of her body. And then lucky that Galan was heads up, able to make the play. And yes, it does completely suck the energy out of your team if a teammate gets trucked right after making a goal grab like that. It's hard to be excited in a way because it seems disrespectful to the situation that just occurred. But Nelson Amici there definitely recognizing that his team needs the fire and pumping the team back up.
So score now 12-8, still in Zurich's favor. I don't believe that Lausanne has gotten a break yet in this half. It's been pretty solid from the Zurich offense. So Zurich now working upwind, but again, the wind is shifting. It's actually changing a bit more downwind. I can't tell. Now the wind has shifted again. But Simon with it's a side wind towards the camera mostly, and it's a bit of an upwind struggle for Zurich at the moment. Hotz gets to Seaberth. Seaberth, marked by Flo Windler, finds a nice inside break. Hotz now with the disc. Gets to Elmingo. Elminger to Seaberth. Nice fake as Aman gets the disc. Aman back to Seaberth. Seaberth with a big huck. Simon's going to be underneath it, and she takes the disc away from Elminger. Now we see Pascal Beans with the disc. Gets to Onome Guadongo. Things are moving really fast. Pascal Beans completely left alone. No dump options. Gets the disc over to Oswald. Oswald now with the disc. Back to Beans. Biens throws it to Windler. That's a bit high, and it's going to be too high for Florence to get that one down, and that is an unfortunate situation for Lausanne as they give the disc back to Zurich and throw away that break opportunity. So Biens now taking the Hotz matchup. Hotz looks up line and calls a foul on the mark. You see a big throw to Elminger. This is exactly what Simon won last time, and he wins it again. And there's going to be a bit of a foul, as I do believe Jake Simon bumped Elminger on the way to that disc. He went up smooth, clean for it, but I do think that when he got into position, he might have hit Elminger in the shoulder. Right in front of us, Ingeborg, what did you see?
Yeah, that's the embarrassing thing. It was right in front of us, Ravi, but I'm not sure what I saw. I mean, in the end, it's an uncontested foul, so I think I saw that Simon committed a foul there. but I'm not entirely sure.
Fantastic stuff, Ingeborg. Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much. Contributing as always. Okay, Elminger now at the disc. Gets it back to Holtz. It's the Holtz-Elminger show so far. And it doesn't stop yet. There we go, Holtz-Elminger. And finally the disc gets up to Franzi Sinner. But immediately back to Holtz again. Elminger puts up a big throw. And, Holtz with the big throw to Elminger over Jake Simon. This time Elminger gets to get the clean version of that matchup. So happened 3 times this point. First time Jake Simon got a clean D. Second time Jake Simon got a foul D. Third time Elminger gets the better of it. So kind of a 50-50 situation there on that option. And sadly for Lausanne, ends up with a score 13-8 in favor of Headless Ultimate Zurich.
Yeah, Headless storming again ahead of this FlyHigh side. Great ferocious intensity, I think, from both teams. And I think maybe it's not entirely FlyHigh's game. Headless, when they play at this pace, it's really looking good. It's really looking strong. Their handlers are up to this intensity. And FlyHigh right now are making errors when they're playing at an equal level of offensive fury. So I think FlyHigh, when they get the next opportunity, which they will now on offense, gotta just keep a little bit more patience in their game.
There's a fine line between moving the disc quickly and rushing, as our coach would say.
Yes, he would.
And I think FlyHigh is edging a little bit into that rushing category at points during this game. It's definitely not where all their turnovers are coming from, but definitely some of them. I think if they would calm down a little bit, they might be able to control the disc a bit more. But again, they are able to, when the disc is moving quickly, things are working well. So they got to find that line.
No, exactly. FlyHigh is the type of team that likes to play quickly. I just think right now they're trying to match Headless as quickly, and that's a little bit more quick than they're used to.
And that is a low first throw from Benji Schaub, giving a very easy position for Headless Zurich right now. As Hellwagner finds, I believe that's Weber for the score, making it 14-8. That is not what Lausanne wants to do.
No, I mean, it's never really what you aspire to do, a first throw turnover, turfing in your own end zone. That is never what you want to do. And just the pressure of the situation, getting the better of an otherwise very reliable person. FlyHigh now calling a timeout, knowing that they need to get their heads in the game to go on this 7-point run.
Yeah, this is now 14-8. Headless just have to score one more point to get themselves a Swiss gold medal. FlyHigh, on the other hand, need to score 7 in a row, and even if they can get that energy they had at the beginning of that, at the end of that first half, I would find that pretty doubtful to score 7 in a row. Headless has been too good and too consistent for that. So I would definitely, if I was a betting person, put my money on Headless here, but we'll see what the end of this game will show for us here in beautiful sunny Geneva, Switzerland, as global warming has made the temperatures 10 degrees warmer than it's supposed to be.
I think, though, it's quite cheap of you to wait until one team has 1 point left to score to start putting money on the outcome of this game. I mean, be a better pundit, Ravi, but I understand where you're coming from. This would be a miraculous comeback indeed if FlyHigh were able to pull it out.
That's fair. That's fair. But here we are, 14-8. Zurich with a chance again, like we said. It's a very different story than the earlier bits of this tournament. FlyHigh's closest game was a 15-8 victory over the Geneva Wizards in the second phase. They've been basically crushing teams 15-6, whereas Headless have lost 2 games, 1 to Crazy Dogs and 1 to Wizards. They managed to pull out a very competitive semifinal against us yesterday, and but given that how they played against us yesterday, they were playing well, but I was definitely favoring Lausanne here. Headless just playing a really good game in the wind, really good game with a quick pace, and Lausanne just struggling both with Headless's defense and with the wind and with the energy. It's just not their game today so far.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Headless looking the best they've looked all season, and FlyHigh perhaps the weakest they've looked all season, to be honest. I mean, they haven't had a flawless Swiss championships. They've been down in games and had to come back, but once back, they've been on top, and that's not the situation today.
Yeah, they haven't managed to get totally back yet. They did manage to get the score to 7-6 at one point after being down 6-1, but so far, second half has been pretty much Zurich's, with a lot of mistakes coming from FlyHigh. As we see the wind picking up, making it Not an easy situation for FlyHigh either, as they are now kind of trapped back close to their defending end zone, as Noemi Guadango has the disc trying to find Christoph Windler. Windler eventually finds Lehman, but she bobbles it, and this is going to give Zurich their first chance at the championship, with Weber picking up the disc calmly, patiently, puts up a huge prayer of a disc, and Guadango able to come down with that one. Guadango gets it over to Phil Gannon. Gannon to Windler. Windler finds Hernandez. This is a really good looking offense so far. Hernandez puts up a big throw to Yannick Galland. She's all alone. Is she gonna get to it? She does, and FlyHigh save the disc. Great defensive play by Guadango, an extremely good flow. Just catch, throw, immediate there by Lausanne on the open side, up until that huck to the break side to Galland. Great stuff from FlyHigh. Scores now 14-9. That was the hold they needed. Now they need to get 6 breaks.
All the breaks.
All the breaks.
All the breaks. Granted though, like as you've been saying before, FlyHigh's offenses generally have not been clean. So I think at this point in the game, they're super used to having to put on that defensive pressure to get the disc. So in a way, what's a break? How is it any different from any other point they've played so far? They have to get it back.
What is a break? What even is a break?
Ben Tannenwald, can you tell us what is Monday?
Inside jokes. This is what we put on the commentary. We see some clapping here from the Lausanne sideline, but not exactly in sync. That doesn't bode well.
Isn't that kind of a metaphor?
Yikes. So we do see a very powerful line here out for FlyHigh, as Benji Schaub and Christoph Windler both, and Stefano Burzio coming out here on this defensive point, as Zurich are one downwind offensive hold away from a Swiss championship. Holtz with the disc in the middle of the field. Guadango doing a good job to stop that huck that he wants so badly. As we see, they're just trying to stop that huck. Increase their chances of a turnover. There's the disc, and Galland gets the D, but I believe a foul is going to be called. It did seem to me that Galland got in front, but maybe when she was swinging for the disc, she might have hit Franzi Zinner a little bit after she got position.
I think that's possible, because to me it also looked like Galland was in front, and perhaps by making the actual swipe instead of the catch at the disc, it could be that she hit Zinner.
So we do see here a bit of a discussion. It does seem to be that it's going to be a contested foul. Disc is going to go back into the hands of Holtz. Unfortunate, great defensive play there by Galland, but it will not be for much. Stall count coming in here on 6, though.
I think 7, which is weird.
Seaberth getting the disc, almost dropping it, but just holding on. And that disc gets overthrown. FlyHigh here with an opportunity to get a break and get themselves at least into double digits here, as Christoph Windler picks up the disc. Guadango. Nice marking there by Seaberth to stop the dump to Christoph Windler. Galland with her classic high one-handed grab. Windler now into space for Simon. Simon did not expect it, but Simon able to hold on to it. There was a pick, but he saves possession.
I think that's why he stopped expecting it. Simon stopping for the pick call, and then yikes! Windler throws it anyway. Better secure possession to avoid awkwardness.
We see Windler doesn't like the upline the cuts up from Simon. Guadango now with the disc. No dump options at the moment. Finds a throw up to Alex. Big throw up to Yannick Galland. Aman's back there. And Benji Schaub skies the pack, gets a score, and that's a break to bring it to 14-10. Benji Schaub, take a bow, sir. That's a great catch.
Hachi machi. I think Benji very much profiting from the wind pushing the disc wide to the side and taking his moment to jump there rather than getting into the pack and jumping from there. Really staying to the side of the pack, reading the disc, and making the best play possible.
I think that was also a bit of a misread from Aman. I think he was playing in a way to make sure Galan didn't get the disc because he poached off of her. Wasn't expecting Benji to come from behind, so if he had stayed in position for the disc rather than on Galan's, he might have been able to get that D, but Benji with a huge sky for the score as FlyHigh trying to get their energy up. 14-10, they did get to double digits. It's going to be at most a 5-point difference, but they are looking at this game. They are thinking, look, we've beaten teams 15-8, 15-6 before. We can get 5 in a row. We've done it many times throughout this tournament. Why not do it now? This is it. This is the end of the season. This is all they've got. All that's left. We'll see what Lausanne can do, but Zurich has not been the type of team to get flustered. They've been broken once or twice. Usually able to get themselves into a good energy after getting broken, but there was that run that Lausanne had at the end of that first half. We'll see if they can bring that magic back. They are getting the downwind side with them. They did a great job in that previous point of kind of forcing wide throws in the wind, and really with that big straight mark, taking away the huck, making them throw wide throws, and eventually they would always get a mistake. We'll see what they're going to do here now as Zurich are going to be going upwind.
I mean, for 1 point out of many, Holtz is not on this O-line, but they'll still want to stop whoever is hucking on this team.
I think that's actually a very good strategy from Zurich. You know that you have a lot of points before putting in your power line, so if your good player needs a rest, you have time. Don't force it right now. But Seabrith is going to put up a big throw. And right now, Zurich on the doorstep as Tutianen gets it back to Siebert. Siebert pops it in, and that is the tournament as Alexandra Tutianen gets the score. Zurich, Headless, Ultimate are your Swiss Mixed European champions, taking the win 15-10 over FlyHigh Lausanne.
Yeah, an absolutely decisive championship here. Absolutely leaving FlyHigh rolling in the dust here, this Headless side. FlyHigh popped their heads out, played hard Ultimate, a couple points during this match, but unable to come up to where Headless was playing for the majority of this game.
So that'll do it for this championship Swiss Mixed here at Geneva, Switzerland. We hope you've enjoyed this live stream. I've been Ravi Vasudevan, joined by Ingeborg Kaulars for the Swiss Ultimate Association. We hope you've enjoyed this show. Again, Headless Ultimate Zurich, your champions after taking 2 losses in the first phase, come out against the undefeated FlyHigh Lausanne and take the victory. 15-10 for Zurich.